Hello, hello, hello. Today I want to talk about something really cool, which is Magic Find. But we're going to wait a little bit. I don't want to start right away. Because some people like to get in here at the beginning, and I don't want to deny them that. Obviously not everyone is staring at their phone waiting for me to make a video. But if they happen to see me and they hop in, then yeah, we'll be good. I'm going to go ahead and pull up some of these, get some chat running. And I really do want to talk with you guys about this. So if you guys have any questions, if you have any, anything you want to add, I'd be more than interested to hear it. All right. No, stop it. And while I'm waiting for people to hop in, I'm going to go ahead and pull this up on my TV. That way I can, like I've said a million times before, so I can see it and make sure that I don't look like an idiot. Everything is set up, and we're just waiting for peoples. Well, we don't really need the peoples here, so there's that. The first thing that we're going to discuss, though, and this is probably the most important thing you'll see in regards to Magic Find, unless of course they change it. But there was a lot of bugs back in the day, like back pre 1.10, where you could get lots of magic items at a certain Magic Find level. All that stuff's been fixed, so Magic Find actually works very, very well now. And one of the main things that we are going to look at is this little graph right here. All right, so this is the graph that basically outlines how much your Magic Find is worth. To put it very simply, the bottom of this graph is your actual Magic Find. Okay, so if you happen to have 200 Magic Find, that's a lot. Because if you look at this, the way that the Magic Find actually affects each different type of item that drops is different. So obviously you see that the magic items, the blue line here, which represents the magic items, has absolutely no diminishing returns whatsoever. The higher your Magic Find, the increased chance of magic items, like to the moon, literally to the moon, all the way up as high as you can possibly go. Now, your rare items do have less of a diminishing return, and set items. That's one of the reasons why, as your Magic Find increases, you seem to find more set items and more rare items, as opposed to more uniques. Now, if you take a look at the unique line has a more gradual slope. And what this chart really shows is that 200 Magic Find, if you look here, around 200 is more than all of the 200 to 1000 combined. 200 gives you an effective rating of essentially around 110, around 120, whereas 1000 gives you an effective rating of 200. So early on in the game, when you first start, having even 100 Magic Find can be a huge boon to the items, the number of items that you find. Now, there's a lot more to it than this, okay? But having at least 200 is kind of like where you want to be. because at least 200 is going to get you a fairly good drop chance on your uniques, a fairly good drop chance on your sets, and a fairly good drop chance on your rares. And this is important because as you go through the game, you're going to find that if you don't have good drops, if you don't have good gear, accumulating, your character starts to outpace himself. You'll find that you won't be able to do hell difficulty mode because your resistances aren't up to to spec. You don't have enough defense. Your damage isn't quite there. So when you go to hell difficulty, you're going to have issues. And this is where building your characters specifically to have magic find, so you're always finding that gear, will help because your character will progress better. You're going to be finding not just better equipment, but equipment that's more suited toward your character. And what I mean by that is, when we play the game, we find items all the time. But you don't necessarily find uniques all the time. And sometimes even when you do find a unique, those unique items aren't really good for your character. So you kind of honestly need to find more uniques, because as more and more uniques drop, eventually you will find something that you can actually use on that particular character. But thankfully in Diablo II Resurrected, we're going to have shared stash, a bigger stash. Multiple characters are going to be able to share those items in between each other. So it's really going to help out. So early game, and this is the reason why I even made this video at all, is because in Diablo II Resurrected, everybody's going to be starting completely from scratch. They're all going to be poor, essentially. We're all going to be these beggar little creatures that have absolutely nothing to our names. There's not going to be any magic find items because we're going to have to either find them or create them. And that's one of the reasons why I've prepared a couple little images here. So we have some very easy to get items in the beginning of the game. They're very low level. They have very high magic find. And if you find them, you hold on to them and you use them to get yourself better equipment. All right, so one of them is the Qlvl dagger. See if I can zoom in on this. So the Qlvl dagger is a level 4 item. Obviously, you're going to be able to use this from the beginning of the game. You can actually attack people with it at level 4 and kill them. Obviously, most people that are using this Qlvl dagger are going to be using it far past level 4, to farm, like, for instance, Mephisto. And you're not going to be stabbing Mephisto with this. So a Qlvl dagger is something that you're going to specifically use for a class that doesn't need to use its melee weapon. Like, for instance, a summoning necromancer or a sorceress. Both summoning necromancers and sorceresses don't specifically need their melee weapon. So you can plink that dagger into your main hand slot and not worry about it. Another good unique item that you're going to find early on in the game is a unique item called the Tarnhelm. Now, the Tarnhelm is fairly sought after because it is a low-level item with a +1 to all skills. It has 50% better chance of magic items. And then what most people would do is they would use their first Act 5 socketing quest to socket it, then put another perfect topaz in that. And that's going to get you, I think, 74% better magic find. So you can see right off the bat here, if you can get your hands on a Tarnhelm and a Qlvl dagger, you're already at 175% magic find fairly easily. And that's getting you really close to that magic 200 number where things start to drift off. Now, granted, I'm not saying that building magic find past 200 is a bad thing. Don't take it that way. Build magic find as high as you want to, as high as you're capable of doing, while still maintaining the ability to kill the monsters in a timely manner. Obviously, if you get to 1500 magic find rating, but it takes you like an hour and a half to kill the monsters because your damage is so bad, you might want to dial back the magic find a little bit so that you're actually able to kill things. Another early game item that you can get is the Tancred's Amulet. You're going to have to combine that with one other Tancred's item. Most people use the boots. You can also use the weapon, but the weapon's pretty poor early on. But I guess if you're a sorceress, it wouldn't really matter. This is really early game stuff. Later on in the game, you're going to find much better items with Magic Find on them. They're going to be much more appropriate to, you know, Nightmare and Hell difficulties. But as you can see, 2 pieces of the Tankreds get you 78% better Magic Find. So very good. Just little starter items there. Now another one is the Gold Wrap Belt. Gold Wrap Belt is level 27, so it's a little bit higher than the other ones that I'm showing you, but it does have 30% better chance of magic items. It's going to get you another, so you're looking at 100 from the Gold Dagger. You already got 74 from the helmet, and then on top of that, you've got another 78 from the amulet and boots. So you're looking at 100 plus 78. That's not what I meant to do. And then you got also the 30% from the belt. So, you know, you're looking at 200-ish right off the bat there. It's yeah. So you get about 200 there right off the bat. Maybe a little bit more than 200, honestly. I'll do that one more time. 100 for the Gold Dagger. About 74 for the Tarn Helm. Then you have 30 for the Gold Wrap. And then you have 78 for the Tankreds. So you're looking at 282. And if you take a look again at the Magic Find chart here, you'll see that the Magic Find chart 282 is probably around like right here on the chart. So it's not going to improve your unique drops that much. It's a little tiny boost, but it's going to give you a pretty big boost to your set items. And if we're talking about early game, the thing about early game is we really want to gear our characters up. We're trying to get those Magic Find items. We're trying to build a stash that actually has the stuff in it that we need so that we can actually make our characters work. Now, we're going to come back to this later, but for now, we're actually going to go to something else. Let me just make sure everything is correct here. To gear our character. Oh, well, hello there, Daniel. Saying hi to myself. Now, I have 3 links that are in the description for you guys. All right, these are going to be your tools so you can figure out, number 1, where does my item drop? Number 2, what places can I farm to get those items? You know, number 3, like, where's the best place? There is no like objectively best place. I think if you did a poll and you asked everybody, you said, you know, what is the best place to get items in Diablo 2? Where do I go for, you know, that amazing magic find? I think objectively most people would say Mephisto. So Mephisto is probably going to be one of the places that you farm a lot. However, Mephisto is not always the easiest to kill, and depending on certain classes, like if you're a melee class, you might have a little bit of trouble with him early on in the game. So I've actually sort of prepared a little list here of monsters that you can kill fairly easily. One of the easiest things you can do is you can just go farm Bishibosh. Bishibosh is one of the normal super uniques. Bishibosh is in Cold Plains, I believe. Early on in the game, it's a good thing to farm him just simply because he is one of the monsters that can drop your Tarn Helm, your Gold Dagger, just the lower level items that you might be looking for to actually start to work on your Magic Find set. Now, granted, Bishibosh can also be killed in higher difficulty settings, and in those higher difficulty settings, he has obviously better drops. my holy freeze here just murders everybody. I don't even have to touch anybody. It's just I won't even know whether I killed Bishy Bosh because he'll just be dead. Bishy Bosh is an interesting character because he can actually resurrect other fallen shamans. And that's not going to be an issue in normal or nightmare difficulty, but you might have a problem with that in hell, depending on your setup. Because what we're talking about here is not perfect setups. I'm not talking about the sorceress that's running with Shaco and she has the perfect armor setup and she's got, you know, her +3 sorceress main hand, you know, skills main hand weapon. I'm talking about the sorceress who's poor and who's probably running a Gull Dagger and a Tarn Helm, and her resistances aren't quite up to spec. But she's still trying to get those good items because she's trying to gear her character up. And we're all going to be trying to gear our character up. That's sort of the thing. And obviously the sorceress has one of the best advantages when it comes to magic finding in general, just simply because she has a teleport. She's going to be able to get around faster. She's going to be able to farm those monsters faster. And this is actually one of the things I want to talk about when it comes to magic find is speed. Alright, there are certain monsters that you can kill much quicker. That might not drop the best drops, but you can kill them easily and you can kill them repeatedly. Pindleskin is one of them. Pindleskin can be killed repeatedly over and over again. And one of the beautiful things about Pindleskin is he always drops 2 items, no matter what. So as you can see, he dropped me a balanced axe, and he dropped me a wand. Now, I'm running some pretty crappy magic find gear. Just a random 23% amulet that I found. I have 40% on a 2-socketed gem circlet that I found. They're not even perfects. They're flawlesses because this is a character that I've started from scratch. Haven't cheated anything in. I have no intention of that anyway. Plus 1 to revive. That's worth some money. I also have a crappy 24% light gauntlets. I have been trying to get myself a Gull Dagger and a Tarn Helm and a gold wrap, unsuccessfully, I might add. And it's not always possible. So sometimes you have to build your characters a little differently with whatever you have at hand. And that's kind of why I brought up the entire point of this, because what I want you to know about this is that your first like 0 to 200% magic find is more important than all of the 200 to 1,000 afterward. 0 to 200 is going to get you almost a 2 times drop rate on the uniques, whereas 200 to 1,000 is going to get you an extra 1. So you're going to go from 2 times to 3 times. And don't get me wrong, 3 times is great, but to get to 3 times, it's going to take you quite a long way. So focus on getting at least anywhere between like 150, 200. Get your magic find up to a point where you can actually utilize it to find yourself better gear. All right, now one of the things I want to go over is super easy locations you can go kill things. Okay, we can go to Act 5 Frigid Highlands. And in Act 5 Frigid Highlands, you got 2 unique monsters here. You got this one, which is Eldritch, what's his name? Eldritch the Rectifier. I always giggled at that when I was a kid. I still giggle at it. Well, who am I kidding? I still giggle. Oh, thank you, Paul. You know, and that's one of the things that I was thinking about when I was making this video. I'm like, why do I even need to explain this? Diablo 2 has been out for 20 years. There's so many people that already know all this stuff. Who am I even doing this for? You know what I mean? Well, I'm doing this for the new players. I'm doing this for the people who, you know, who are getting into Diablo 2 for the first time. They probably weren't even born when Diablo 2 was around. Maybe for your little brother you're trying to get into Diablo 2, and you know he hasn't played Diablo 2 before, but he's excited to play Diablo 2 Resurrection with his big brother, you know, but he doesn't want to look like an idiot, so he's looking up some information on his own. So Shank the Overseer is another one. He's really easy to kill. You can hop in here. So think about it this way. I could do Mephisto runs, and I'm not gonna lie, Mephisto runs are great. They're amazing. But it takes a while to get there, especially if you're not a sorceress. If you are a sorceress, you teleport through, you find it, you go kill Mephisto. It's a lot quicker. Which is why, in general, when you do Magic Find runs, Mephisto runs on a sorceress is much easier. But like, say you're a Magic Find paladin, like I am. So you say you have no intention of making a sorceress. You don't want to make a sorceress. You just don't like sorceresses, even though you know that objectively sorceresses are like the best Magic Find characters in the game. You still don't want to make one. Frigid Highlands is a really easy early game. I'm too weak to farm Mephisto, or Mephisto takes too long. You run up here, you kill Eldritch the Rectifier, you kill Shank the Overseer. You exit the game, you make the game again, you run back right down to the waypoint. Takes you about all of 2 seconds. You run up here, kill Eldritch, and these should be super easy for you, especially at a certain point. You're just going to walk up here, kill them. Actually need that short spear. Take that, sir. And then you run down here, you kill Shank, save and exit. You do that over and over again. You'll actually get some pretty good set item drops. You'll get some unique item drops. They won't be the most amazing drops. They're not going to be. But they're going to gear up your character real fast. And then once you've got your character geared, you can start doing your Mephisto runs. And as you can see, we got, a splint mail. We'll check out the splint mail. No, I need space. Never have enough space. And of course, it slows you down a little bit if you actually have to pick up gear. If nothing drops, though, you're going faster and faster. Then you can do Nightmare difficulty. Nightmare difficulty, the level of the monsters increase. Greetings. All right, so what I'm going to show you guys is it's a website that has a list of all the areas in the game. Holy crap, that's a expensive splint mail. That's actually kind of nice. 17% hit recovery. It's got 2 resistances in the almost 30% range. That'd be nice for a mercenary. What's my mercenary wearing? What you got, Weed? You got a whole Eyes and Hearts case. Yeah. You're getting this one. It's got faster hit recovery. It's got 2 resistances, and this Eyes and Hearts sucks. It's not even that good. You were getting like, yeah. Just take that, put that in there. I'm a big rare item fan. Like, I don't know if you guys remember back in the day when you played the classic Diablo. Before they added all the uniques, before they put all the set item bonuses in, before they made these amazing unique items that we have today. It was all about the rares. It was all about finding that perfect rare item that had the perfect stats on it, that got the good rolls, had the lifesteal, had the ITD, had all those cool things, and so even today, even after all these super awesome unique items have come out, I'm still identifying the rare items and going, ooh, that's pretty good rolls. That's a pretty sweet little rare shield there. That thing's freaking awesome. Like take this take this shield that I found. It's just a crappy little shield. Found it, has +1 paladin skills. Look, it's got 39 cold, 33 lightning, 33 fire, 33 poison, half freeze duration, attack takes damage of 2. It's got faster hit recovery on it. It's an amazing little rare shield. And that's the kind of stuff that you're going to find with your better Magic Find, is you're going to start finding these really good rare items. All right, so Nightmare Act 1, trying to remember here. One of the best places to go is actually the pit, believe it or not. Which is in... Why can't I not remember where the pit is? Lord, it's been so long. So first, let's see if we can find Bishy Bosh. Because Nightmare Bishy Bosh is going to be a whole lot better than regular. We're just going to run around and see if we can find his butt. Black Widow. Not Bishy Bosh, but I'll take it. An Arbalest. So that's a Nightmare version. Now, there is a particular reason why you're farming specific monsters. So, Super Uniques have a chance, or not a chance, sorry. Super Uniques pretty much always drop 2 items. And Super Uniques are basically named monsters. Bishy Bosh just happens to be one of those Super Uniques, and he's always in the Cold Plains. It's just where he exists. Corpse Fire would be a another like Super Unique, but that's in the Den of Evil. Oh look, she's got Holy Freeze too. I'm impressed. Y'all just killing Wahid. Why don't you leave him alone? Leave Wahid alone. Free Wahid. Poor Wahid got ganked. Alright, so what I want to show you guys actually, instead of running around the map and wasting you guys' time, I'm showing you all these little areas. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to pull up a website, and this website has all the information on it that I'm trying to explain to you. So let's see. Where are you at, Chrome? OBS doesn't like to choose windows that aren't maximized. I don't exactly know why that is. It's kind of silly. Alright, so what we're going to do now is we're going to look at a couple of these links. I have them kind of all pulled up here so that we can actually look at them together. Alright, so first off, what we have here is the area levels. Alright, so if you go to this website and you take a look, what you're going to see is number one, it's going to have the level of the basically the area in normal, nightmare, and hell. All right. The higher the level of the area, the more items can drop. And if you look here, Act 1, the pit, is level 85. That's the reason why the pit became a popular place to farm. Not because it has amazing monsters in it, not because it's the greatest place to farm ever. It's because as a level 85 area, it has some of the highest drops in the game. You can get just about every item here. Not every item, but you can get just about every item here at level 85. What you're going to do is you're going to go through this list, and you're going to pull out areas that will work for you. So let's see. In Act 2, you see we have some level 83 areas, but they're not level 85. So they don't have a chance to drop everything, but level 83 is still going to drop some things. But take a look at what this is. It's Claw Viper Temple level 2. Who's going to try and farm Claw Viper Temple level 2? It's only got like 1, maybe 2 sets of monsters, and it's a long way to get there. So when you're making these choices, you're not just making these choices based on their item level, you're also making these choices based on, you know, how easy is it to get there? How quickly can I kill these monsters? Is it a waste of my time? You know, like there are some areas in here that are definitely a waste of time. Like for instance, the sewers level 2. It's a very tiny area. It's also incredibly difficult to find sometimes, depending on the map that you're in. Sometimes you're not even going to be able to find sewers level 2 in any kind of timely manner whatsoever. So why would anyone farm there? Well, you probably wouldn't. Maybe if you were just getting the eye, it would be a nice place to see if you can get some good drops. Make sure you got all your magic find gear on. But you can see that it's a very high level area though. This right here is an area that I would recommend going. and it's actually all of these. So in Act 3, there's all these little temples, and they're all peppered all over the place. They're in the Kuros Bazaar, they're in the Upper Kuros, they're in the Kuros Causeway, and every single one of these little temples is level 84 or level 85, and they usually have quite a few uniques in them, quite a few treasure chests, quite a few weapon stands, quite a few armor stands. Like, they're just great places to go in Hell to get those really high level drops. Now, you don't necessarily have to worry about this until end game, until you're actually capable of getting to those really high level areas and doing the damage. Another little link that I've got for you here is this one. So what this is this is actually going to show you where the items drop. So let's take a look here. So this is a rather sought after item, right? So let's see if we can figure out where we might actually be able to get this version of the item. So we want a unique item. We want the, let's see here. We're going to say it's players 7, and our magic find is, let's say we got 500%. All right, so here we have a list of where this item could possibly drop, and it tells us, you know, essentially the area and the monster that has a chance of dropping this item. Like, for instance, here you see the Dark Archers in pit level 1 and pit level 2 have a chance, but see right here next to it, it says Hell difficulty. A lot of this has to do with two main factors. So this is another link that I've got for you. It's called the TC, or the treasure class. There's two main factors for items. There's the treasure class. So for instance, we have here a treasure class 45. But you notice how some of the items that are in this have a Q level of much lower than the treasure class. All right, so treasure class is what determines whether an item will drop at its base quality. So take, for instance, let's just click on an item here. So we have the mesh belt. So your mesh belt is a base level item. And so for a mesh belt to drop, that mesh belt has a TC of 45. All right, but then your Q level of something like the gloom strap is 45. So you see it's Q level 43 for the mesh belt to drop, but 45 for the gloom strap to drop. What this means is that even if you have the right monster who will drop the base item, the monster still needs to be high enough level so that he can roll for that item to become a unique item. And that's kind of how things work in Diablo. So it's not necessarily that you're finding a unique item. What you're doing is you're killing a monster, and the monster drops a tower shield, okay? And then the tower shield has a chance to roll a magic item, a rare item, a set item, or a unique. But it can still only ever be a tower shield, because the tower shield is what dropped. So your percent chance to get one of those items increases with Magic Find, because you're increasing the percent chance that that base item will roll as a unique item, set item, rare item, or magic item. Otherwise, if you had 0% Magic Find and you were in a one-player game with nobody else around, you would have the lowest percent possible chance, and there's a very good chance it would just simply drop as a white item, so your base item. And that's kind of a very interesting thing, because let's say you're in River of Flame in Hell, and you're fighting a bunch of monsters, and you see the Hell version of the Ancient Armor drop. So you know that could have possibly rolled as the unique version of the Ancient Armor, but it didn't. And that's kind of the sad thing, because every time you see an item drop that is a normal item of what you wanted, you know that was an opportunity where that didn't happen. Now, this is where the item level and the area level are coming in handy, because you're going, okay, well, I want A Wind Force. So a Wind Force is a level 80 item, right? Now we could go over here to Silo Pen and we could go, okay, so we want a Wind Force. Let's find it. So the Wind Force drops from very specific monsters here. We've got Bone Warriors in Pit level 2, so the Wind Force could potentially drop from Bone Warriors, apparently. But it's not going to drop from monsters that are not in Hell. Hell is pretty much the only place a Wind Force is going to drop, because when you refer to our item level here, it has a Q level of level 80. And there are no monsters in Nightmare that have a Q level high enough to drop that item. Which is why sometimes when you're in normal difficulty, you start getting some Nightmare level items, because the Nightmare level items have a possibility to drop in normal, but the uniques don't, because the uniques have a higher Q level than the base item that is dropping. So like, take for instance a Shaco, which is a Q level 58. The base item of the Shaco is a War Hat, right? So let's go back and we'll look at War Hat. So the War Hat has a Q level of 34, which means you can see War Hats dropping repeatedly from monsters that will never have a chance to drop a Shaco. I hope I've made that kind of clear, because earlier I was saying, if you see an ancient armor drop, then you've missed out on a Silks of Victor. But if the monster that you killed had absolutely no chance of dropping an ancient silks, then there was no way for that ancient silks to ever roll. Which is why you want to make sure that you're putting yourselves in the right areas with the right level monsters, so that you actually have a chance to get the item that you want. If your goal is to get a Millibrega's set, or a Millibrega's orb, there you go. The Q level on that is level 23. So the Millibrega's orb could potentially drop from anywhere in Act 3, it looks like, forward. So you see here, Act 3, Sewers has a level 23. So anywhere before Sewers, pretty much, except for some small exceptions like Travancore and Kuros Causeway, you're not going to have a chance to get Millibregas. So if you're farming for Millibregas in those locations, you're not going to get it. And then as you go forward, you start to realize, hey, certain monsters have a really high level. Like, take a look at Durance of Hate level 3. It's level 83 in Hell. It's level 55 in Nightmare, which is one of the reasons why a lot of people will farm Nightmare Mephisto. Nightmare Mephisto has a level 55 area level. He's not too difficult to kill. In fact, a lot of people end up cheesing him. There are ways you can get him stuck on things, and then you just spam ranged attacks in his direction. He doesn't even have a chance of attacking you. You really, the only thing that you have to get through to get to Mephisto, obviously, is his little henchmen. And sometimes they can be a pain in the butt. Like, was it earlier in one of my earlier videos? One of them spawned with Conviction, and fighting a monster that has very heavy elemental damage and also runs Conviction is a little painful. So let's see here. I do have this one here. This is really kind of like where you're going to find exactly what your item is that you're looking for. It doesn't matter what it is. Like, say for instance, I've been looking for a Gull Dagger. So the Gull Dagger is a Q level 6 item, which means the Gull Dagger can drop pretty much anywhere. Now, granted, it's not going to drop in the Bloodmoor because the level of the Bloodmoor in normal is 1. So I'm going to have to at least go to the Black Marsh to get a Gull Dagger, or at least go over to Taomi Highland. I'm not going to be able to get that in, just straight off the bat in like Cold Plains. Now there might be some monsters in Cold Plains that have a Q level or a level high enough to drop the item, but they're not going to be that common. And and some other things I wanted to talk about here. Right. I got a lot, sorry. All right, so players 8. A lot of people may or may not know this, but when you type in /players and then a number, you can simulate there being more players in the game. So see, it says players set to 2. Now what I'm going to show you here, well, I can't really show it to you. I can type it in. How about that? So when you have more players in the game, there is less of a chance that monsters will drop nothing. All right. So when you go out into any particular area and you kill a monster, the monster has a chance to roll to drop nothing. This is important because if the monster drops nothing, then you get nothing. It doesn't have a chance to drop better equipment. Think about it as quantity, not quality. All right. However, the quality or the quantity only increases every 3, 5, and 7. Okay. So if I put players 2, I'm not getting a better drop rate. Okay. But if I put players 3, I am getting a better drop rate. So players 2, 4, 6, and 8 do not increase the drop rate of items. And this is important because if you're going in and you're doing Magic Find in single player, there's absolutely no reason to do 8, 6, 4, or 2 unless you're trying to get more EXP. The EXP and the damage of the monster still increases on every single one, but the drop rate only increases on 3, 5, and 7. All right, so if I wanted the best possible drops for my single player character here, I would do /players 7. Now, this is super dangerous though, because in /players 7, the monsters have become a lot harder. And since we, as we were talking about earlier, we're noobs. Okay, we're scraping together Magic Find gear from flawless amethysts and crap that we find on the ground. We're not really the strongest characters in the world, so you might have to, sacrifice. You might have to say, okay, well, instead of players 7, I'll go with players 3. Players 3 is like the bare minimum to increase the drop rate. Somebody said good morning. Hey, what's up? Battalion protein products. Interesting. All right, so I am currently in Nightmare, and my character is really not ready for Nightmare at 3 players. But this is where I would get the good equipment. Kind of wish I was ready for Nightmare at 3 players. Let's go ahead and go to normal difficulty for now, because my character is not ready yet. And we're going to pick out a good place to Magic Find. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick out a place that's good for me. All right? And that's kind of what you have to do. You got to pick out a good place for, can I effectively farm this area? Like, for instance, if you were going into an area that had tons of cold immunes, and you're a cold sorceress, well, that would just be silly. You wouldn't be able to kill anything very well, and the things that you would be able to kill might not drop anything. So each individual choice for each individual magic finding character is going to be up to you. Now, I have found that one of the easiest ways for me to magic find on this character was to go to Frigid Highlands and just murder Shank and Eldritch over and over again. And I actually got some pretty good drops, which is what led me to getting uniques like the Dark Glow. I managed to pick up Hellclap Short Warbow, which I've been using just for laughs. I got Sanders Rip Rap, which goes really well with the Sanders Taboo, but I'm not using the Sanders Taboo right now because I actually want the Magic Find. I do have Tancred's Skull, but I have been unable to find Tancred's Amulet yet. And if I can get a hold of Tancred's Amulet, I'll have 78% more Magic Find. So a couple other easy ways to get Magic Find. Let me just go over those real quick. Shale Eth Rhyme Shield. That's a really easy one to do. I've actually found several Shale runes. The Shale Eth Rhyme Shield is actually fairly easy to make. It gives 25% Magic Find, but it's a fairly nice shield all around. So if you're a sorceress, a paladin, maybe a necromancer, it could be a very useful shield. In fact, let's see if we can make one real quick. I'm pretty sure I have a shale in here. I had 2. And if you can't find an Eth, I don't know what to tell you. Eths drop everywhere. There's about 1,000 million Eths. Alright, so now we need a shield which has 2 sockets. Let's go over to Act 5. Let's see if we can at least maybe buy one.
Afternoon.
He has no shields. I've never seen him not have a shield before. It's amazing. He's like, no, I'm not selling shields today. I know the purpose of your video, sir. And we're not contributing. Nobody ever has. You know, like, one of the things that you definitely search for in vendors is socketed items, because socketed items are so useful. And I swear, ever since I've started searching for socketed items, they're just not there. Just not there. Jambella. What you got? Nothing. Y'all all got a whole lot of nothing. You don't even got shields in your gamble. It's terrible. And that's another reason why you're going to hold on to random socketed items when you find them. Like if you happen to find a 3-socketed helmet, hold on to that 3-socketed helmet because you're going to make a Magic Find helmet out of it. If you happen to find a nice 2 or 3-socketed shield, I want to hold on to that shield because you might make a pretty good rune lord out of it later. Die Shank. I got time. He's dropping me a battle staff. We got a defender. What's that? Only 1 socket. Pathetic. Pathetic. Alright, so... Sorry, I'm going over my notes here. I've got a lot of notes. Yes, item swapping. Okay, so... you do not have to have your Magic Find equipment on while the monster is taking damage. You only need to have the Magic Find equipment on when the monster is dying. So at the moment that the monster dies, you can swap to the gear and make sure that you get that last hit with your Magic Find gear. Now, this comes in handy because you might have a piece of equipment like me, which is just awful. So, like for instance, I have these awful Magic Find 24% gloves. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our Sanders here, and we're going to equip it. We're going to actually damage the Eldritch, and then very quickly we're going to put our Magic Find back on right before he dies. And we will get the benefit of the Magic Find without having to have the negative. The easiest way to do this, in my opinion, is to put Magic Find items on your swap. So your little swap items here. So theoretically, you would have a Gull Dagger in your left slot, and then you would have a good shield, like maybe a Mildebragus shield or the Shale Eth rune shield here. And then, basically, right as you're about to kill the monster, you're just going to P-swap. You're going to go over to your other item, and then you're going to kill him with that. You can even, believe it or not, you can even cast your spell with your good gear swap to your crappy gear, your magic find gear, and it will still work. Because it doesn't matter that your spell was cast when you didn't have the magic find gear on. It only matters that the monster died when you had the magic find gear on. Alright. Let's see. Yeah, that's my little Boadin here. I know y'all jealous of my little Boadin. He does a good 423 damage with his Hellclap short warbow. Alright. So it wouldn't be a magic find video unless we went and killed Mephisto at least once. And I'm going to show you guys how you can cheese him. I gotta say, pretty much everybody cheeses Mephisto. He's not that hard to cheese anyway. The thing that I don't like about Mephisto is how long it takes to get there. So unless you're playing a sorceress who can teleport around and find the entrance super easy, it's not as quick of a run as others. Now, if you find a really good map, well, that's up, not down. If you find a really good map, you can just farm that one over and over again. In single player, your map actually stays the same until you change difficulties. So what a lot of people would do in single player is you find a really good map where you can find the entrance quickly. Like sometimes the down level 3 will actually spawn directly next to the waypoint. And then you just don't change difficulties for a while you're farming that particular map. But of course, as soon as you change difficulties, you're going to lose that really good map, and it's going to go to another one, probably a crappy one. Back off me. Now, if you are magic finding on a paladin, this would probably be a good time to break out your vigor aura if you have it. I don't have the vigor aura, but if you do have vigor, it's going to help you run faster, give you unlimited stamina, blah blah blah. That way you can just run by monsters. I promise I did have a sorceress on Battle.net until it was deleted. That's one of the things I'm really looking forward to with the new system, is I really just do not like that my characters, like all of them, got deleted just simply because I didn't play for like a month or two. And you might say, well, it takes 90 days to delete your characters, not, a month. With month is only 30 days. But hear me out, alright? I had many accounts, and some of those accounts I might not have picked up in a little while. So what we're talking about is not necessarily that I wasn't playing the game actively, but more or less that I didn't play those particular characters enough. Freaking rare battle staffs. Give me more money and we'll move on with your life. And I know I just sold that for 15k, and I probably could have got 30 in nightmare difficulty. All right, this is probably it because there's not very many more options. What's that? Is that Eisenhart's? It is Eisenhart's. Blech. I can't. That's another thing, is that don't underestimate the little chests and stuff all over the place in the high level areas. Click on all the chests. Click on all the stupid little armor stands. Click on all the stupid little weapon stands. Some of them are actually known as super chests. And I'm still using my bow. Y'all don't laugh at me. My little Holy Freeze Boadin is OP. And look, see, we just found an Eth rune. There you go. There's your Eth rune for your shale shield, and then you just gotta find the shale rune. That's the actual hard one. I mean, I wouldn't say it's super difficult, but you'll find them. So there's a little armor stand. We got a socketed breastplate. All right. So here's Mephisto. What we're gonna do is we're gonna run down here, and you go right here in this little spot. See if you can get Mephisto onto the stairs. Should be able to actually hit him and draw him over. Come on, buddy. He ain't having it. No! Clicked off the screen. Alright. So here you are as Mephisto. He's right here. And what you're going to do is you're going to stand off the screen a little bit. Poor Wahid, he's going to get murdered. But you pretty much just cheese him. If you have ranged attacks, you can use your ranged attacks. If you have like spells like Blizzard, Frozen Orb might not reach, but there's definitely a lot of different variations to how you could do this. You don't necessarily have to do it this way if you can murder Mephisto in 2 seconds. But we're not talking about normal Mephisto. We're talking about Nightmare and Hell versions of Mephisto that you're going to be farming a lot. Normal Mephisto doesn't really have the best drops in the world. Nightmare Mephisto is probably just the favorite because he has such a nice high level and he's pretty easy to kill just in general. So let's go over and see what kind of loot we managed to get from this boy. A light melt? What the hell is that? Arctic furs set? Yeah, Arctic furs set. Not the best of drops.
I can't.
No, don't tell me you can't do things. I don't like that. We don't need that aspirin. We really don't need it. Another good place to get your stuff is Hell River of Flame. Act 4 Hell River of Flame is actually level 85, as well as the Chaos Sanctuary. So both of those are actually pretty good to farm for gear. So let's go over this from the beginning, all right? So in normal, when you first start out, you're first building up your magic find. You can kill Bishy Bosh, you can kill Mephisto, you can kill Pindleskin, Shank the Tormentor. Obviously, any of these are going to be good. If you're completely poor and you have absolutely nowhere to go to get gear, you can't kill anything. That's where a lot of these lower level areas are coming in. So let's pull this back up again. So as you can see here, you're in normal difficulty and you need some equipment. Where do you go? Well, in Act 1, one of the best places to go is Catacombs level 4 and Catacombs level 3. So that would be your Andariel run. So you're going to run that Andariel run over and over again. Andariel has a very good drop rate for rings and amulets. So that's going to help you out, especially in Nightmare difficulty. You can go in there and try and get your Nagel rings and your Mantled Heels. Various rings that are going to help you build other characters. Nagel ring actually has some good magic find on it too. So that's a nice one to have with you. And then when you get to Act 2, as you can see here, Cal level is level 28. So Cal level is actually kind of a nice place to farm as well once you've beaten normal. But at that point, you're in Nightmare, and if you can handle Nightmare difficulty is going to be a much higher area level. So you get to Act 2, and there is the pit again. The pit actually is a kind of a nice place to go. Pretty much no matter the difficulty. I swear am I at the pit? Sorry, not the pit. Act 2. It's called. Why am I forgetting the name? Not Stony Tomb. Ancient Tunnels. That's right. Ancient Tunnels. Ancient Tunnels in Hell difficulty. So Ancient Tunnels is actually over there in I think it's Far Oasis or Lost City. That's right. And it looks like the sewers. And there's nothing super special about it. But it is one of the highest level areas, and you can go in there and you can get some pretty good gear. So let's see here. We've got you got your Catacombs level 4 farming for like when you're a complete noob. You got your Ancient Tunnels. You can farm that in Act 2. If you're having trouble, for instance, getting past Duriel. Duriel can actually be quite a pain in the butt until you've geared up your character properly. Especially on a lot of non-melee builds. So when you're a melee character, you get in there and you fight Duriel. You've got your defense, you've got everything, and you're usually okay. But the ones that need space to make their characters work, Duriel's tomb is very small, and you're going to have a lot of trouble keeping away from him. You're probably going to need a good merc. So you can farm ancient tunnels in Act 2 to help you get past Duriel. Once you get to Act 3, like I was talking about earlier, the best place there is just farm these temples. Click on every weapon stand, click on every armor stand, click on all the chests, kill all the monsters around here, go in each one of these temples. You're going to get pretty good drops here, just because this is kind of a really high level area for Act 3. And then as you go forward, Act 4, you got the River Flame again. It's level 27. There's lots of good monsters there. And then on top of that, the Chaos Sanctuary. So this is why Diablo runs are kind of fun, is because the whole River of Flame and the whole Chaos Sanctuary have really good drops. And then when you go kill Diablo, Diablo also has good drops. So it's kind of fun to just do those runs all the way up, and killing everything on your way, just murdering all the group monsters. You don't have to kill all the the whites, just the regular monsters that are running around, but you want to kill all the monsters that are named and their minions. So if the monster says Chaos Knight minion, you're killing it. If the monster has a special name, you're killing it. If the monster is a champion, you're killing it. Those are the monsters that have really good chances to drop items. The rest of them are just going to be for EXP mainly, but they have a chance to drop some items. Not as good of a chance as the minions, the named monsters, and the champions. Another very good place to farm, believe it or not, is Worldstone Keep. I'm not even just talking about Baal. So Baal is another entity entirely, so killing him takes a while. I actually don't really like doing Baal runs for Magic Find. I prefer to do Baal runs for EXP. But the entire World Keep is a very high level area. Even in normal difficulty, Worldstone Keep is up to level 42. And as you can see, the Throne of Destruction is level 43. In Nightmare difficulty, it's level 65. And in Hell difficulty, the whole thing is level 85. So the entire Worldstone Keep area, basically, in all acts, can be a very good place just to go kill monsters and get good equipment. You don't necessarily even have to kill Baal. You can just clear out levels 1 through 3, and maybe even clear out the throne room, and then just save and exit and do it again. You're going to have good drops in there, and as well as good EXP. That's going to get you ready for Nightmare, get you those extra levels, those extra skills, so you can work toward getting the, what do people call them, the god items. The god items is the stuff that's dropping from like level 85. You're not going to get god items in Nightmare difficulty, Mephisto. That's not going to be where you're going to get that stuff. You're going to get the god items in the level 85 zones. The level 85 zones are all listed, as you can see: River of Flame, Chaos Sanctuary, Worldstone Keep, Throne of Destruction. One level off, like a level 84 area, isn't going to be a super huge detriment. But when you go over to your item list, we're going to find our level 85 stuff here. So here's our level 84 stuff, right? And then our level 87 stuff here is never going to drop from a level 84 area. So everything on this list, essentially, you're not going to be able to get it if you're not in a level 85 zone. And it's a pretty large chunk of stuff. And you might be saying, well, the Wind Force has a Q level of level 80, but its TC value is 87, which means that the base item for the Wind Force can't drop unless you're in an area high enough for that item, which means that even though the Wind Force has a chance to roll on every single base item that drops of that type, you're still not going to have that base item drop unless you're in the right area. I'm fairly certain Wind Force is one of those items that you have to be in Worldstone Keep for. Because it tends to be one of those items that only drops there. Let's see. Wind Force is the Hydra Bow. Yeah. Oh no, googly. Alright, so what is left to talk about as far as Magic Find? Let's figure this out real quick. That's why I took notes, because I knew I was going to forget stuff. Let's see. We talked about Pindleskin. I'm not sure if we talked about Pindleskin. I think we killed him earlier. But let me just say some things about Pindleskin. He has a very high loot table. There are a lot of things on his loot table just in general. And what I mean by that is he has a chance to drop a lot of items. He's very quick to get to. Why am I not using my aura? There we go. I'll whip out some zeal on you too. I'm gonna end up dying in here. This character is not built 100% yet. Oh look, we got another short warbow. Isn't that hilarious? You know, I discovered something stupid earlier. So when you're on your Necromancer and you come in here, all these monsters are supposedly dead, but they're not really dead. And I guess what I mean by that is, you know, they're all laying on the ground, as it were. And you can literally use their corpses as as skeleton fodder. So you basically, you know, delete their corpse essentially and make a skeleton out of their corpse. And you can literally just sit there and hold right click and just murder all of them without them even getting up off the ground. But after you murder like 5 or 6, like they start getting up because they realize what's going on, I guess. But I just thought that was hilarious that you can just take these monsters that are supposedly dead and use them as skeleton fuel. So which one's better? I got better fire damage. This one has better enhanced. Well, nope, the one I already had on was the better roll. But as you can see, Pindleskin dropped me a unique item. That's what we're going for. We're trying to find those unique items. I really don't need another Hellclap Warbow. I'm already full enough as it is. I cannot wait for shared storage. I cannot wait. We talked about Mephisto. We talked about Pindleskin. We talked about Shank and Tormentor of Eldritch, or Eldritch the Rectifier. We talked about how Andariel drops a lot of rings and amulets. One thing to note about the pit. So in Hell difficulty, the pit has a lot of cold immunes. So if you are a cold sorceress, the pit may not be the best place for you unless you happen to have some way to counter that, you know, immunity. You can counter that immunity with conviction, believe it or not. So if you have a conviction merc, that might work out for you. The mausoleum is a good place to farm for these. So the Countess has a good drop rate on runes. She can drop anywhere between, I believe it's 1 to 5 runes every time you kill her. And of course, it depends on the difficulty that you're in. But let's see here. I remember the Countess was in, was it the Black Marsh? Which means we could probably go backwards easier. Die. And we're in Taomi Highlands, so we might be able to find the pit as well. There you go. There's the pit. As you can see, they didn't die right away when they got hit by my cold attack, and the reason is because they're higher level than everything else around here. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and change it to /players7 because that's the highest drop rate for items. Take that small charm, thank you. Now I've been starting these characters from scratch, and I haven't really been doing a lot of magic finding, which is part of my issue. I've really just been trying to rush through because I'm on streams, and you know, you guys don't want to see me kill the same monster over and over and over and over and over. And unfortunately, that's a lot of what Magic Find is. It's killing the same monsters over and over again. Going in and farming Mephisto 100 times, or killing Shank the Overseer and Eldritch the Rectifier, you know, literally like 600 times. And that's kind of the argument that I make about Eldritch and Shank, is that you can kill them so many more times per minute or per hour or whatever quantifier you want to use than you can save Mephisto. Mephisto is a much slower kill, simply because you have to get to him, whereas Shank and Eldritch are directly next to a waypoint that you can save and exit and take repeatedly. This is normal difficulty, and I'm in pit, and I think the only reason I'm here is because I'd like to grab a Gull Dagger. A Gull Dagger would help significantly in Magic Find. 100 bonus right off the bat just for holding on to this little dagger. That's something that I would definitely like for my my main Magic Find character. Of course, nothing here is going to be that amazing. You could probably forego picking up a lot of the magic gear that's not amulets and rings, especially early on in the game when you're just trying to gear up your character. Die, champions. And then you got pit level 2. Pit level 2 is also worth going into. And of course, pit level 2 has the super chest. I'm sure everyone is familiar with the glowing majesty that is the super chests. So we got a hand axe, a hunter's bow, not really what we were looking for. But you know, early in the game, that rare hunter's bow might be the best thing that you'd ever found. And I found 2 hand axes. Make a little dual hand axe barbarian, why not? Let's go. Dual hand axes. Double swing, brother. Double swing. And it's pretty much just rinse repeat at that point. There's nothing more to it than that. Deckard Cain. Identify these items immediately. Woo, that's a great amulet. Ooh. Ooh. I'll put this belt in here. I might find some of the other pieces to that. I really don't need that, although it's actually kind of nice. Stop judging me. I'm holding on to some pretty silly things, I know. Alright, let's put our Shale and Ethrune back, since we didn't manage to find a shield. Let's see. Worldstone Keep. So one of the things that you can do when you're magic finding is you don't necessarily need to kill everything. These little white monsters here that I have, these are not going to be the ones that you want to kill, like, or the drops. Alright. Find the little groups. You could run around, you could find the little groups. Let's see here. Demon spawn. Demons. You guys can't touch me. Can't touch this. Holy Freeze is actually really great for Magic Find runs too, because it slows everything down, makes it much easier for you to be able to run through everything. It's harder for them to catch you in, like, what I call it, like a hit recovery loop. I think that would be the best term for it. Because what happens is, you start getting hit by a lot of monsters, your hit recovery starts to take in effect. You can't get out of the group of monsters because they're hitting you so much. Even if you're blocking and dodging most of those attacks, you still have to suffer from the hit recovery. Back off then, son. And I think the main problem here is that I'm just in normal difficulty. You'll notice that the density of the number of monsters in, for instance, Hell and Nightmare increases a lot. Like, I just noticed in general that when you're in normal, there's a lot less named monsters. There's a lot less champions. And when you start to go into Nightmare and Hell, you'll notice that the number of champions and the number of named monsters increases by a large amount. Ooh. Deathlords not being able to be frozen? Alright, buddy. That's kind of one of the downsides of Holy Freeze, by the way. Not everything can be frozen, and so that advantage disappears whenever you're in a situation where you're fighting monsters that can't be frozen. Alright. Another interesting tidbit here is that Qlvl can drop Zod runes. So Zod runes are rather highly sought after. And if you take a look at the list, Hell Secret Qlvl is in Act 1. Moo Farms is what it's called. It's level 81. Level 81 is just high enough for Zod runes to drop. So if you want to go into Qlvl and farm for Zod runes, that's actually a good place to go in Hell difficulty. And of course, everybody is usually geared properly for Qlvl runs. In fact, most people build their characters for Qlvl runs. Let's see, what else? We got lots of good little tidbits here. Ancient Tunnels in Act 2 is mainly a magic and poison immune area. So if you are a necromancer, that's a bone necromancer, or you're a poison damage character, you're going to have a little bit of trouble there. But your general magic find ice sorceress is going to have no trouble in Hell Act 2 Ancient Tunnels. So that could be a good place for you. I think we've covered just about everything, to be honest. At this point, it's pretty much just use the knowledge that you've got. Get out there, kill some stuff, make it work. Use this little guide here to try and help you find the items. If you don't want to think about it or do any of the math yourself, figuring out where to go, what to kill. This is going to be your friend right here. So, let's say I'm a necromancer and I really, really want, what was the name of that set? Lord, see, I had the entire set on my necromancer and now I can't even remember the name of it. Was it Radamants? No. So many good items in here, though. Of course, I'll have it set to set item. There we go. Trangools, there it is. So let's say I wanted Trangools scales. All right. So I'm going to hit find. I'm going to do by probability. So my highest probability looks like Nightmare Abaddon. Ancient's Way. That's kind of not a good place. So let's find an area that actually makes sense. The Siege Beast in Frigid Highlands. Looks like what I'm getting here is a whole lot of Icy Cellar, like Frozen River, Crystalline Passage, Frozen Tundra. Like this really seems like a Act 5 nightmare item. So in general, it looks like if we play through Act 5 Nightmare, we have a very good chance of finding this item. But where would we actually go to farm it? Honestly, it looks like to me a large number of monsters in Icy Cellar have a very good chance of dropping the Tranquil Scales. So Icy Cellar might be the place that we end up going. Let's take a look at some other items just so that we can get them out of the way. So what if we wanted, which was that? Saigon's Guard. So Saigon's Guard is a very popular +1 shield, very low level. And where do we have the best probability of getting a Saigon's Guard? Let's go by... There we go. So here we go. Look, Durance of Hate level 2, Durance of Hate level 1. River of Flame, Secret Cow level. So right there at the top, Nightmare, Secret Cow level. Super good chance of getting a Saigon's Guard. Let's look for unique items again. So let's say you want to build a Bone Snap Maul character. There you go, here's your Bone Snap Maul. And we're going to go again, we're going to go by probability. So we've got... Am I doing this right? 1 in 5, 1 in 12. So yeah, 1 in 5. So it looks like River of Flame. Apparently, Uridar. Bloody Foothills. Several characters in the Bloody Foothills have a pretty good chance. Death Maulers, Burning Dead Archers, Afflicted. And you know, this is how you're gonna build your characters. You're gonna find what you actually want. I hope that this has been at least a little bit informative to those of you who have absolutely no idea how Magic Find works. I know that some of you have way more knowledge about Magic Find than probably I ever will. This game has been out for 20 years, and I haven't played all 20. I've played on and off for 20 years, but I haven't played for 20 years. But this video is really for those people who are just getting into Diablo 2, because Diablo 2 Resurrected is coming out. It's really for those people who may not have ever actually looked into Magic Find, whoever you are. So that, you know, as you're playing, you can make the right choices and get the right equipment. We're all going to start out poor. All right, we're all going to be very, very poor in the beginning, and there's really nothing more to say than that. We're all going to be struggling to build our equipment and gear lists up, getting those items so that we can make those special characters that are all very near and dear to our hearts. You know, for instance, this particular character could certainly use a lot of TLC in terms of equipment. It's really just sort of cobbled together pieces of gear that I've found in my journeys. And that's what all our characters are going to look like when Diablo 2 Resurrected starts. We're all going to be cobbled together gear monsters. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I'll see you there.